All right, this one is quite a doozy. We're going to deal with polygons in the coordinate plane. So being able to find lengths of sides and basically using coordinate plane to find area and perimeter of shapes. All right, here is your warm-up for today. Give examples of points in each quadrant. So I want you to give me an example of a first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant answer. Come back when you're done. So you could have had any numbers put in here for these ordered pairs, but this is how it should have been labeled. The x and y would be positive for the first quadrant, so 3 and 7. The second quadrant had to be a negative and a plus, so like negative 2, 5. Third quadrant are both negative, so negative 2, negative 6. And for 4, it'd be positive and negative, so like 5 and then a negative. So as long as you had those, you did well. So here are a couple examples you could have based on using that same pattern. All right, so let's talk about polygons in the coordinate plane. First, you got to remember what a polygon is, and that is a shape with vertices and straight lines that are equal, I guess. Okay, on a map, you can identify the location by the intersection of two streets. So you can think of a coordinate plane as a bunch of streets in a city. Well, you can also count along the axis to determine distances in a plane. So here's one where you were given F, G, and H, and the coordinates for it, and then this is what it looks like when it is labeled on the coordinate plane. That's what we're going to work on today. So let's get into our first example, which is drawing a polygon in the coordinate plane. Make sure you have that written down. Drawing polygons in the coordinate plane. Now, if you're given the vertices of F, G, and H, and you plotted them on a coordinate plane like you're supposed to do here, you then connect the dots. I know you guys have played connect the dots before. So for F, you go over 2 and up 5. For G, you go over 4 and up 1. And for H, you don't go up or down at all, but you go down to, not 22, negative 2. So you graph the points, and the second step to doing this is you connect the dots. So you just draw lines that go through them. So that's the triangle that you would get for example 1. Have this down before moving on. Here's another example to look at. So I was given 1, 2 for A, 4, 2 for B, and 3, 1 for A. What I did with my drawing is I just made the first quadrant. And you can see that if you place these on there, this is what it would look like. Graph the dots and then connect the dots. All right, you have 2 of them I want you to do in your notes. These are the 2 shapes I want you to create. So there's your, there are your coordinates or ordered pairs. Go ahead and put it on the graph. And here are what my 2 look like based on the coordinate plane that I created. Long, skinny rectangle for number 1, and a wide triangle for number 2. Hopefully yours look pretty similar. All right, for practice 2, we're going to talk about how you can find the distance in a coordinate plane. First, we got to see if we can find the perimeter of this shape. Now remember, perimeter is walking the fence around the outside, so how much space takes up just the outside. So the first thing you'd have to do in these steps, and I encourage you to write these down, Step 1 is find the length and the width. So we got to be able to find the length and width of the shape that we see here. Now to find that, all we have to do is count from left to right along the x-axis from one coordinate to the other. And then to find the length going up, you do the same thing. So if we were able to look at the width, let's start at C and go to D. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the width of this is a 4, and the height is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 and 4 are the numbers we need to know. Now to find the area of a rectangle, what you have to do, make sure you're ready to move on, is you have to find the perimeter by using the formula, which is 2L plus 2W, which means we're multiplying L times 2, and our length was 4, and our width was 6. I guess it really doesn't matter which direction. But to solve this, you use this formula 2L plus 2W. So what are we going to do? We're going to plug and chug. Plug in 4 for L, so it's now 2 times 4, plus 6 for W, 2 times 6. Order of operations, 2 times 4 and 2 times 6 separately. And when you add those together, you get 20. Oops. Thought I had this here for you. Oh, I guess not. So P for this one would equal 20. Here are, let me get rid of the 4 and 6. Here are two rectangles. I want you to find the perimeter of each. Come back when you've figured it out. All right, so hopefully number 4 didn't trick you up too much, but the width of that one was 5.5. So you had to add that extra half on there for each of those. So there's the formulas used showing my work. A perimeter for 3 is 18, and the perimeter for 4 is 21. And let's look at a word problem here. So it says Candace's house is at the corner of 3rd Avenue and 7th Street. She walks from her house west to minus 2nd Avenue, then south to 4th Street, then east to 3rd Avenue, and then back home. How far did she walk? So you got to be able to create your perimeter. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to plot the points on a coordinate plane, find the length and the width of the rectangle, and then figure out the perimeter. So first thing we have to do is make a coordinate plane. Now we know it says that she lives at the corner of 3rd Avenue and 7th. So if we go over 3 and up 7, this is where we're going to start. Now she walks from her house west to minus 2nd Street. So minus 2 would be 2 to the left of the axis. So how far did she walk here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she walked 5 blocks that way. Then it says she went south, so we're going down to 4th Street. We're at 7th, so we got to go down to 4th. 6, 5, 4. So that's a difference of 3. And then back home. Okay. So she went, oh no, I'm sorry. Then we have to go east to 3rd Avenue. 3rd Avenue would be about here. So how far did we go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then she went back home, and that's the same as over there, which is 3. So how far did she walk? We just have to add all 4 numbers up. 5 and 5 make 10. 3 and 3 make 6. 6 plus 10 is 16. So Candace walked 16 blocks to be able to find that answer. So it's okay to draw and kind of think it out. Even if your coordinate plane looks sloppy like mine, it's a plan, which is what you need when trying to deal with word problems. Here's one I want you to try on your own. Come back when you are done. So hopefully you got 22 feet for the perimeter. I showed my work here, which I hope you did in your notebook as well. So by putting the string around the border, we saw that from -2, 3, all the way over to 5, 3, that's a difference of 7. And then for going down from 5, 3 to 5, -1, that was a difference of 4. And over then to finish off a rectangle, so 7 and 4. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 4 is 8. When you add those together, you get 22 feet. All right, go ahead and answer these 2 word problems, or thoughts, box of thoughts. Full sentences. These probably both take at least 2 sentences to solve. I'll be looking for good answers inside a box when you come to me later. And here is your quiz. So it's going to be in 3 parts, so we're going to pause it as we go. First thing you have to do here is graph the rectangle with vertices. So make a coordinate plane and then graph it. When you're done, move on to the next one. Number 2, you got to find the perimeter of this rectangle. And number 3, Albert set up a vegetable garden using a coordinate system. I want you to be able to tell me what the perimeter of the garden is. And that's it for this lesson. We'll see you next time.